After nearly 4 years, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni today has replied Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert Bobi Wine on his agenda of salary increment on our men and women in uniform, health care improvement, education, welfare, accommodation, and the retirement benefits. Bobi Wine promised to the men and the women in uniform that the lowest pay of the man and the women in uniform will be at least 1 million, citing that there is that money, the unclassified expenditure, unclassified money that is given to State House. He will channel that money to improving the welfare, the accommodation, the education, the health of our men and the women in uniform, plus the retirement benefits, so that someone can retire when she's still younger, and someone can retire where he feels he wants to retire. Then General Museveni has a reply, but I want us to first look at Bobi Wine's promise to the men and women in uniform that has triggered General Museveni today after almost near 4 years ever since Bobi Wine promised that. Now, why General Museveni is responding or trying to respond to Bobi Wine today? Let's first get Bobi Wine's promise.
So, number one, I intend to increase the pay of the security forces. Let me say that again. I intend to increase the pay of our security forces. The pay of our soldiers, police officers, and prison officers is so miserable. It must be improved. If I become president, we'll have the privilege to know what the classified budget really does. Such a huge amount of money will be used to improve the pay of our security forces so that they can live a better life. When I'm president, the lowest paid soldier or police officer will be earning 1 million shillings. Let me say it again. When I am president, the lowest earning police officer or soldier or prison officer will be earning 1 million shillings. I will improve their housing and health care. Low-ranking and middle-ranking officers must be entitled to free quality health care as the high-ranking officers. Our government will find opportunities for the spouses of the soldiers and police officers to ensure that they are each contributing to the livelihood of their families. I also intend to streamline the promotion criteria in the armed forces and, of course, in the police, which will be based on merit and not technical know-how. Never again will soldiers be forced to join the police. I say this again. Never again will soldiers be forced to become police officers like we see today, because they had the option of joining the police, but they decided to join the army. In our plan, the better option is not to recruit from the police, from the army to the police, but instead to improve and empower the police so that they can become better and operate better. The children of the soldiers and the police officers will be entitled to free education up to university. There is no greater sacrifice, ladies and gentlemen, than serving in uniform, and it will be our deliberate plan to ensure that our men and women in uniform in dignity. I firmly believe we do this, I strongly believe that if we do this, then our armed men and women in uniform will have respect for the citizens. In a new Uganda, there will be mutual love and respect between those in uniform and the ordinary citizen of Uganda. When I become president, we shall introduce a contract arrangement for the security officers. In other countries, one can serve in the military, and after some time, they resign when they are still young, and of course they resign with a better retirement package. But today, They are all tied. Even when they want to resign, they cannot. One should be proud to serve in the military or in the police and resign. So we shall make it on contract so that we make that job so nice for you to work. Number two.
That was Bobi Wine on the nomination day 2020. He promised that to the military, to men and women in uniform. And today, General Museveni is saying this to men and women in uniform. Why he will never improve or increase their salaries, as Bobi Wine said or promised them.
Problems. Like the other boy who killed our minister, Okero Ngora, that he was getting allowances for being a bodyguard. If you are going to get allowances for being a bodyguard, how about the ones in Congo? Why would they not get allowances? And you who is riding around in Kampala, you get allowances. For what? But that's because they were not implementing the collective answer. When I am away from where I am, from my home, what I need is food. I should get food. Because I can't take the food of my family where I'm deployed. And I think that one is always provided for. Operational ration, you call it. But money. When you take that line, you will not be able to defend the country. This is the problem of Somalia. Somalia is a big country. It is 3 times the size of Uganda in land area. It needs a big army. Now, if you start saying salaries, allowances, you cannot build a big army. You will end up with a small army, 10,000, like in Somalia now. How many soldiers do you have? 10,000. What can 10,000 do in Somalia? Somalia needs a army of maybe 200,000, 300,000. Ignorance is good. You know, when you are ignorant, it's also good. Because it's not good to know too many things. That's how people get blood pressure. You take a huge country like Congo, with these Europeans, brigade. What can a brigade do in Congo? Congo is about the same size as India in land area. You are not like me. You have these phones which have stories about the whole world. Me, my phone is only for ringing, not for rumor mongering. But for you, you have got these mobile phones which have got all. You go and check. What is the size of the Indian army? 1.5 million people. This is how you defend a country like India. You cannot defend it to Uma Brigade. You look at people, you feel pity for Africa. How can Africa be so unfortunate? So you need big numbers. And if you need big numbers, and you make each person very costly in terms of money, how would you manage? That means you don't have the numbers. And you are more backward than the Banyankore. To be backward than the Banyankore is not a good idea. Because the Banyankore were more advanced. The Banyankore say, if you are making a lamb for food, you make a smaller one. so that people don't hear and come too many. But if you are making an alarm for war, you make a big one. So which alarm are you making now? Are you making for food? If you think war is food, then you continue. You will discover. You discover that it's not a good idea. We need numbers. And that's why the strategy of the NRA was, we need, by the time we launched REEF, reduction in force, was it 1990 or something? Our army was 100,000. That's how we managed to control the whole country. We had to cut it down. But even when we cut it down, we had to convert the money into what we call force multipliers. Buying aircrafts, buying what, not spend on welfare because we couldn't manage. So therefore, implementing these collective welfare formulas is the correct way. The late General Rwanda
You had that? You had him? You need more forces. You need many policemen. You need many army men. You need many prison men and women in uniform. And you pay them little for you to protect the country. But Bobi Wine doesn't talk about recruiting small numbers of men and women in uniform. No, he's talking about increasing their salary, increasing their pay. General Museveni is disputing that. That is not possible for you to increase the pay for men and women in uniform, yet you need big numbers. But look here, Bobi Wine is talking about the unclassified budget given to State House. We don't know what that money does. And that budget is bigger than the budget of UPDF, police, and prisons. But what does that money do? Who takes that money? Who eats that money? That is the money Bobi Wine is talking about. Yes, we have that budget for our men and women in uniform to build a big number of them. But there is that money, unclassified expenditure, unclassified money that is in the State House. What is its work? Let's get that money, we add it to the East budget we have for the bigger army, and we pay well our men and women in uniform. We will again buy aircrafts. We will buy those fighter jets. We will buy midges. We will buy everything we need in the army, and yet our men and women in uniform are well paid. They have free education from nursery to university. That was what Bobi Wine promised. They have free medical care, each and everybody. Their wives are given startup capital, or they are given jobs, or they are given businesses. Because these guys are doing a good job for our country. We must respect them. How do you respect somebody when you are just giving him peanuts? Jameson is talking about these men and women in uniform. They must only think about food. That when you are away, like in the Congo, Somalia, anywhere, when they are giving you food, just get contented. You should not get allowance. But why you, the one in Kampala, driving or bodyguarding the ministers, the big men in the government, you are given allowance, yet you're doing nothing. And others in the Congo on the battlefield are not given allowances. It should be uniform. That's what James 7 is saying. Yes, it should be uniform, but every soldier in uniform must be given allowance. Why the guy who is protecting our country not given allowance? When the guy just seated for 2 hours, for 1 hour in parliament is given allowance? Why? Why ministers called to State House for a cabinet meeting are given allowance for those 2, 3 hours, 5 hours they spend there with President Museveni? They are given allowances, but the army man, army woman who is in Congo, who is on duty here home in Uganda, is not given allowance. Is that fair? That's what Bobi Wine is talking about, that these men and women must be given allowances. They must be increased, their salary must be increased, their welfare must be looked up, must be elevated, their children must be educated freely from nursery to university, their spouses must be employed, or must be given businesses. That's Bobi Wine's manifesto, and he is still on it now. And soldiers are rumor-mongering inside there, talking about Bobi Wine and General Museveni who to support, because Bobi Wine has the best plan for them in pay, in welfare, in housing, in education, in health than General Museveni. So they are talking to one another, but Bobi Wine is the best. You see, this Bobi Wine, because we are with General Museveni today, and you see this is poor, but Bobi Wine must be the good guy. Then General Museveni today is trying to defute that Bobi Wine is not the best. Please, there's no money, but the money is there. There is money given to opposition men and women, Mpuga, many likes of him are being given money not to oppose General Museveni, or because they well opposed General Museveni. Why not getting that money and they pay our men and women in uniform? And again we build a big army because money is there, wasted by corrupt people, officials in Museveni's government. You see? But he doesn't want that money to be given to the army men and women. Then who is the best? Who should be our president? Who are you voting? Whom are you electing? Who is your president? I'm asking you, my friend, men and women in uniform, who should be your president? The guy who is supporting corrupt people and not getting that money to pay you well, to improve your welfare, to improve your housing, or the guy who is fighting corruption and is arresting and is really hammering those corrupt fellows so that he can get that money to improve your pay, to improve your welfare, to improve your education, your child education, to improve your spouses' work, job, and to get more money in your family, or General Museveni. So I think Bobi Wine here beats General Museveni. No matter what General Museveni will say, Bobi Wine is clear, and the money is there. We can have a big army, and that army is well paid. Why America is the superpower? Because they well pay their men and women in uniform. They give them allowances. They love them. They take them as human beings. There are those benefits, and everyone is free to retire whenever he wants, she wants to retire. That's Bobi Wine, what he's proclaiming, that people must be free to retire. When I feel, no, I have served enough, let me retire. Because they have some command here, they retire. Like those developed countries, people retire whenever they want to retire. But in Uganda, it's a taboo to retire. They must even kill you if you persist that I want to retire. Why are you retiring? You want to create us? You want to create a war against us? Why are you retiring? In Uganda, it is impossible. So Bobi Wine is my president. If I was an army officer, I would have voted for Bobi Wine. I would have supported for Bobi Wine because he has a clear plan for us. But General Museveni is here for us to suffer. Why him not suffering? And if we are suffering, saying that I'm suffered for 5 years, so for you suffer for 10, 20 years. But for you suffered only 5 years, why do you want us to suffer for 10, 20, 30 years? Let's also enjoy life, because we're here to enjoy, not suffer. Bas.